So there's one role in Marvel Rivals that is the the most disrespected role in the game. The most disrespected role in Marvel Rivals happens to be the strategist role. Strategist is the most disrespected role in Marvel Rivals specifically because it's the strongest. And when I say it's the strongest, I mean it's the role that has the power to negate a lot of things. It negates death. Okay, no, it doesn't negate death, but it extends your life because you can still die. It does not matter how much people are healing you. You can what's it called, with the role itself in the game, you can shut down certain plays, you can make certain plays, and nobody respects this role in the game, right? I have met a handful of strategist players who I will say I respect, who actually play the game. 99, okay, at least 90% of you guys, okay, at least 90% of the strategists I have run into, I keep questioning myself, what are you doing? You guys have seen it on stream. We've had some strategist players, and you're just like, what are they doing? And it's become a thing in Marvel Rivals where you hear the term. Again, if I'm lying, please let me hear it in the comment section. It's not every cloak and dagger, but it's always a cloak and dagger player. A majority of you will see Jeff hovered and your heart will stop because you don't know if that Jeff is going to be a good Jeff, or if it's a Jeff you will ask to swap that would never swap, if it's a Jeff that you tell something to or talk to and then they suddenly want to eat you and eat your team and throw you guys off the map because they were offended by what you said or you offended their ego or whatever, right? I looked at the role when I started playing Marvel Rivals Strategist. I was like, this role seems interesting because I wasn't a strategist player from the beginning. I started on DPS. Like, I was just playing casually, right? I was like, this is different. So I'm healing my team, but I can do damage. I was playing strategist when Black Panther was eating the backline for lunch. I was playing strategist when Daredevil was broken and was freaking chewing gum and you couldn't get rid of him. I've been playing strategist since day one. Okay? I didn't start the game in season 0. I'm pretty sure I was here at like 1.5 season 1, casually around season 1. 1.5 I started taking it seriously. I've been playing strategist since then. I was here when they were like the first support strike. I was here playing strategist even then. And what am I trying to say? I learned very, very early on that the role requires you not only to do healing, but to do damage, right? You should be able to fight back when the person is diving you. You shouldn't be a helpless victim because at the end of the day, if you look at Marvel Rivals, how the strategist kits are built, you are not a victim. You have so much at your disposal that majority of the strategist players do not use, right? So let's start with like when it comes to dealing with dive, okay? A lot of people complain that strategists say, oh, we need dive, we need peels, and no peels, no heals, right? I can understand that. If you're on strategist and you're getting dove and your first instinct is to press the S key, again, this is something I learned very early on. I didn't have to be told, right? If you're pressing the S key, what are you doing? You're separating yourself from the what's it called, from your team. You're separating yourself from the tank. You are removing any peel potential. Peel potential is literally when you're close enough to your team that your tanks or your DPS are able to get to you in time to get the diver off of you and save your life, keep you alive. Because at the end of the day, the most important role in Marvel Rivals is the strategist role. The most important role in Marvel Rivals is the strategist role. You have the most impact, funnily enough. And when I say impact, you literally turn a no into a yes. You turn a death into life, basically, is what I'm trying to say. If your tank is being focused down, you have the ability to keep your tank up. If you're a strategist that does ult tracking and you're tracking ult, you have the ability to shut it down, either by telling your team to kite it, because that's another thing you guys do not do. You're not vocal enough, but we're going to get there. Either by telling your team to kite it, or you shut it down using either a Luna freeze, an invis push, cloak and dagger fade, a fox charm, a gambit cleanse, or you use your ult to shut down an offensive ult to keep your team up, right? The strategist role is meant to be proactive, not passive, not reactive, proactive. You're the one, you have the most view. You literally have everything in front of your face. Like, you can see the entire battlefield. You can see where the enemy tanks are positioned. You can see where the enemy strategists are positioned. You can see where your tanks are positioned. You can see where your DPS are positioned. Because while you're looking, you shouldn't be tunnel visioning on strategist. You should have like a broad view. You should be able to see everything. Your eyes should be shining. This is what your eyes should feel like. You should be able to see everything. Okay? And when you're getting dove on strategist, first of all, the most difficult thing to deal with is a coordinated dive. If a dive is coordinated, 9 out of 10 times it is successful. Okay? It takes a lot to shut down coordinated dive. Funnily enough, there is rarely coordinated dive in ranked. In pro play, there is coordinated dive. That is why it is so successful, because these are exceptional players who understand communication, who understand the game macro, who understand how to do it. And in ranked, it's crazy for you to expect that if you somehow run into a team who decided that, you know what, we're going to vibe and we're going to play a dive comp and we're going to go 1 to 3 dive. If you actually think your team is going to be able to shut that down without you giving them the information that they need, then you're just lying to yourself. Like, you're just lying to yourself. You're setting yourself up for failure. So again, I'm still on the dive topic here. When you're being dove or strategist, there are a few things you need to do, right? So the first time, this is when everybody walks out, right? If everybody is walking out, you do not know what the enemy team composition is yet, and you then die to a Black Panther, maybe he does the one-shot combo, or a magic catches you off guard, right? The very first death. I say the very first death of a strategist should be the freest death. That death should be free. And I say free in the sense that, okay, it's a first fight, everybody is beginning to show their hands. And if you somehow die during the first fight, that should be the only free death you have. The next death you should be having needs to be worked for. And when I say worked for, I mean you need to make sure that whoever is diving you puts everything on the table. Because when you're playing dive, I'm not gonna lie, when I'm playing Raccoon and getting dive, I just start dashing in random directions back and forth, mostly to whether my tank, to wherever my tank is, but I be panicking. Yeah, it'd be like that. It is a stressful situation because people want to kill you. People want to kill you. You as a strategist, you have a target on your back 24/7. It is the role you chose. It is how the role is. It's literally how it is. Because why? You have the most potential of ensuring that plays value can be created. The more you live, the longer your team lives. The longer your team lives, the longer your team has a chance to create value, which is why all the strategists are the first that are usually targeted. They're saying, kill the supports. Why? Because if you kill the supports, nobody else is there to keep them up, to sustain them. And then they've lost the fight. The minute you've lost, you lose one strategist, that fight is lost unless you can trade another strategist. Like, you want to trade a strategist for a strategist to keep it even. If you trade a DPS for a strategist, the team with the DPS won that fight. The team who lost the strategist lost that fight. Okay, still on the topic of the dive. So your first death is a free death. Okay, whoever is diving you, that should be the only free kill they get. And then it's up to you as a strategist, because now specifically, because normally in a front to back composition, right, when they're just playing front to back, just tanks, DPS, and then supports, there's no dive. It's a little different. But when they have people diving you, now there are more things in play. So now your attention, even if you're not dead, your attention is split between you living, you peeling for your other support if you're a strategist that does that, and also you keeping up your tank and your DPS who are also fighting in the front lines or on an off angle. So how do you even deal with dive on strategist? What do you need to do? Because I'm talking about dive, right? You need to keep watch, because the only way to successfully shut down a dive is before it happens. If you can spot where the Black Panther is, again, Black Panther is always going to want to come from high ground. He's almost always going to want to come from high ground. It's going to be up on a ledge, on a freaking in a room in a corner somewhere. Black Cat is going to do the same thing. Magic is going to try to do the same thing. Daredevil, Psylocke, they usually come from high ground. They jump on you. Psylocke is a little different because she can either decide to burst you or poke you from afar. Same thing with Star-Lord. But usually they come from above. So you need to keep an eye out for, where they are, listen for them, because there are sound cues in the game. Sound is also part of information, people. We shouldn't be hearing things and ignoring them. If you hear something and you clock it, you either give the comms or then if you die, you die, you know? All of these things I'm saying, these are things I had to learn the hard way. I learned them the hard way. Once upon a time, I was a strategist who's getting dove and I'm pressing my S key to the back. Once upon a time, I'm the strategist who's getting dove and I'm saying, I'm screaming for help, but I'm not running forward. But then I realized to myself, I was like, why am I isolating myself away from my team? Why don't I just make it somebody else's problem? That is what you should think, a strategist. If you're getting dove, you want to make that Black Panther, you want to make that Spider-Man, you want to make that Daredevil somebody else's problem. Preferably, make it your DPS's problem. Or your tank's problem, but preferably your DPS. You move towards the DPS if they're close enough. If they're not close enough, if your tank is close, move towards your tank while letting them know, hey, I am being dove. Now it's up to your team because you've done what you have to do. You've done what you have to do. You've spotted the dive. You're moving forward. You're telling your team, hey, you're giving them the information. So now you've done all you need to do. All that is left for your team to do is to turn around and get that dive off you, peel him off you, right? So in scenarios where you do that and it doesn't happen, which it has happened to me, I have walked forward and my tank didn't care or my DPS didn't care. It happens. That comes down to the people you're playing with, right? But as a strategist, it is up to you to be vocal about what is happening. And also, y'all need to use comms. Now, again, I'm not going to force anybody to use your microphones. Use the instant message comms if that's something, or type into your chat and be like, hey guys, listen, I am being dove. Pay attention to the pings or something. Let them know, right? Let them know. Another thing you should do is make sure your second strategist is on the same page as you. Okay? Patty caking is a thing. If you don't know what patty caking means, patty caking is when you look at your support. So you're facing each other and you're healing each other. But when you're patty caking, you need to let your teammates know, hey, supports are patty caking. We're getting dove. Help. Now it's up to your teammates, if they have common sense, to get the diver off you so you guys can go back to keeping them up. Now, if they don't do that, your team is all, if they don't turn around while you guys are party kicking and then they end up dying and they ask you for where your heals are, tell them, hey, it's out of my hands. Okay, it's not your fault in that situation. If you've given them the information, if you've told them, hey, this is what's happening, but then most of my supports do not do this. Most of my supports do not do this. I play tank, I play DPS, I play strategist. I have more hours on strategist than I do on any other role. I have more hours on strategist than on tank and then on DPS, like that, right? In that order. Most of the strategists I run into do a few things, right? They either tell me they're getting dove when they're on 1 HP, so I hear too late, because if I'm still getting heals or I don't hear anything, because as a tank, when you are on the front line, you cannot see what's behind you. You do not have the info. You can only see what's in front of you. You can only see where the enemy is positioned. DPS, something similar. You can see a lot of things, but not constantly, because you're not constantly watching. You're looking for an opening for you to engage. Strategists, on the other hand, are the ones who see everything. So if I am on tank and I'm thinking, okay, my strategist they're fine. My backline is okay. Everything is Gucci. I can move up. I can aggro and contest for this space to see if I can take it, right? And then I hear a ping is that, oh, I see in the kill feed, my support is dead. Death to Spider-Man. And I'm like, what happened? You know? Like, a solo Spider-Man should not be able to take out 2 supports. A solo Spider-Man shouldn't be able to take out 2 supports if the supports are good. Solo diving shouldn't even be working if the supports are good. Like, do you know how cracked that person needs to be for it to... like, people who solo dive, first of all, respect to all of you. You need to be really cracked to be able to pull it off, right? Okay. And when I say support is the most disrespected role in the game, I mean it is disrespected by the tank players, it is disrespected by the DPS players, and it is disrespected also by the support players. A majority of support players play strategists. Because I say support, first of all, I even hate using that word support. I rather use the word strategist, because Marvel Rivals has three roles: Vanguard, Duelist, Strategist. We don't have any healers. Okay, I think support, I'm like, okay, you know what, I can tolerate the word support, because I use it just now, even though I don't really like it. I can tolerate the word, but there's a word that really grinds my gears: healer. A majority of Marvel Rivals strategist players are healers. Healers. You just heal. Okay, y'all only heal, and that is disrespectful to the role of the strategist. Strategist does a lot of things. This video is going to be going in depth to all of this. So all of you, I need you again, lock in with me here. Strategist does a lot of things. Okay, I'm going to go with one of the most common strategies ever played, Cloak and Dagger. Right? Cloak and Dagger has certain abilities. Okay. This ability, where is it? This one, Shadow's Embrace. This guy, where is it? Where is it? I'm looking for Dagger here. Perfect. Terror Cape. This ability, do you know how good it is? Do you guys understand how good it is? I have seen Grandmaster supports never use this in my games. Not once. Never use it in my games. You see this highlight there? That highlight there means that they are taking increased damage. I think around 28% increased damage. So when you are on Cloak and Dagger and your tanks are fighting other tanks, instead of throwing the light explosion, throw Terror Cape. Do you even understand what the role does? Strategist is a role that enables. You are literally, I don't want to use the word enabler, but you're literally enabling your team to get the value. That is the core of a strategist. You are the thinker. You are the thinker. Think of you like you're like the brains of an operation. Your strategist is the brains of the operation. You do so much. You can do so much more with the role besides just healing. First of all, you have the ability to do damage. Depending on the strategist you're playing, some deal more damage than others, right? If you're playing Luna, she is basically Hela with heals. She is Hela with heals. I play Luna. She's probably my most played strategist. She is Hela with heals, but her ability doesn't just stop there, right? She has the what's it called? She has her absolute zero. This ability, the absolute zero. So not only do you get heals when you use it, right? You can CC another player, shut down what they're trying to do. So you can use that for a Venom if it's diving your backline. Another way you can use it is from when the enemy is not playing dive. Is again, when your tanks are fighting. If you watch my content, when your tanks are fighting, I will freeze one of the tanks. Why do you think I do that? I do that because now that other tank is frozen, most of the pressure will be on the one that's unfrozen, because now the one that's frozen is thinking, oh crap, I gotta move, because now he's taking damage and he's taking so much damage that he's almost at one. Usually I do it a lot to like things. I do it to like Magnetos. Another way you can do it is if your Cloak and Dagger is about to ult. Your Cloak and Dagger is about to ult and you're on Luna. You can try and target the Magneto and freeze him just before she pops her ult, or while she's popping her ult before he does it. I've done that to prevent him from hitting her on the head with the Meteor M. So what am I trying to say with all of this ranting here? I am saying that strategist players, support mains, you guys are being disrespectful to the role you claim to play, to the role you claim to main, to the role you claim to love. You're being disrespectful to that role because you're only using half of the role's potential. All you care about is how much heals you have at the end of the game. It doesn't matter if you had 2 million heals. If you lose the game, it doesn't matter. You could keep pocketing only your tanks, leaving your DPS to die. That is not how the game is meant to be played. It's not how the game is meant to be played. And I get angry because I love the strategist role so much. You're locked in. Let's fucking go crunchy. I love the strategist role so much because it's the role with the most information. And this game, Marvel Rivals, a huge part of it, huge part of the game is info. Info has to do with game sense. That's also how you build game sense. If you want to know, the best way to build game sense is through observation, rinse, and repeat. You observe, you take in, you try it, it works out, you try it again, or you try something different. You watch the enemy, how they move. Strategists literally can read the fight. You can read the fight. You have the ability to read the fight. You can tell, okay, where this fight is going. You should know, I might need to pop an ult here. You shouldn't always use your ult, because that's another thing all strategist players do. Or at least not. I'm sorry. No. That's the thing that most, because we're not going to be generalizing here because that's not true. That is the thing that most strategist players do is use your ultimate abilities reactively. Use it reactively. You can use Cloak and Dagger's ult to push. You can use Deadpool's ult to push. You can use Luna's ult to push. Just because it heals you doesn't mean you always have to wait for somebody else to ult, for another support to ult, and you're like, okay, now I'm going to match. No. Jubilee, you can use her ult to push. And when I say to push, I'm saying as a strategist player, you should be thinking, okay, how am I going to ensure that my teammates get the best? You know, how am I going to ensure that my teammates are able to play at their best? Because you as a strategist enables that. You as a strategist can change a 1v1 into a 1v2. You as a strategist can decide to say, okay, that Eye of Agamotto that is coming, I'm going to shut it down. You as a strategist, you can give the information to your teammates to let them know, hey, I just see the enemy White Fox teleported. Fox no TP. So now they know to look at the Fox. You as a strategist can be like, hey, I know Magneto has an ult incoming. Maybe we can focus the Magneto. Because part of your kit is information gathering. You need to think. You need to use your brains. You cannot just go autopilot, heal bot your way through the ranks. You can only do that for so long. Because what's going to happen is more nerfs are going to come. I hope that Marvel Rivals decide to go back and nerf the support ult charge. Because the one thing in this game that can actually boost you is heals. A majority of Marvel Rivals support players are boosted. A majority of them has boosted. I can say this as a person who has thousands of hours of support. A majority of them are boosted. And to some of them, yes, they wanted to be boosted. And to others, it's not really their fault. Because why? Supports are overtuned. And it is fine that they are overtuned because this game, everybody is broken. So supports need to be broken for them to be able to play the game. If supports were doing half the heals they were right now, nobody would play the role. Because why? The damage output is just too much. It's just too much. Okay? And that being said, right? I did that until Diamond 3, just heal button, and it is not working anymore. Gonna have to start using my brain, I fear. Like, it is what it is. Literally, heals Crunchy can take you to Diamond, for real. It can literally propel you. Because when you're able to heal and you're able to live, because there's so much healing in the game, right? And usually in the meta ranks when climbing up, you don't really see like a lot of good like dive players. Usually like poke, and when the players are diving, they're not really diving that much, and there's really not that much coordination. And sometimes, because I also play on console, right? So I know how both worlds are. You just see how they play, and I have to laugh. I'm like, yeah. Like I told a person when I was playing, I told them, because I was on tank, I said, hey, they are on triple support. Don't play White Fox into triple support with heavy poke. And they're like, why shouldn't I play White Fox into triple support and we're on defense versus heavy poke? They're like, why, how? It was unfathomable because they couldn't understand why I was saying that. I had to explain that White Fox versus heavy poke damage doesn't do anything. Yes, they don't have dive. And they're on triple. So they have two solid support ults, one offensive ult. You have a White Fox in your backline, and maybe if you're lucky, maybe a Jubilee, or you have maybe I don't know what's the name. You have a Mantis or Invis or whatever. White Fox, as much as I love her, she's not. I haven't really seen her have success versus triple with heavy poke damage, because Punisher just melts her. Like her ult is just fully CCable. She's just like CC victim, you know. She's always getting crowd controlled. It's best to just swap off the White Fox, right? And speaking of swapping, again, this is another thing we need to talk about for my strategist players, because you guys do not hear this enough. You know how you say, we hate, what's his name? We hate Spider-Man players because Spider-Man players don't swap. Do you know that you also need to swap on your own strategist? There are how many? Count with me here, people. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. 13 strategists in the game. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. There are 13 strategists in this game. 13. You cannot be playing cloak and dagger all game when your teammates need burst heals. Because yes, cloak and dagger is good. 13. For real though, 13. There are 13. Right? If you're running a Jubilee and a White Fox backline versus heavy poke damage, first of all, Jubilee isn't a burst healer. She gets her burst healing from her hood team up, right? And she can, and also when she's aiming, it's like her aim is very similar to Star-Lord. So you need to be very, very good, and you need to hit your shots. Running a Jubilee and a White Fox versus Hela. Let's say that, because usually people want a solo tank, right? People don't want a solo tank, but people want to force solo tank. So you have like a solo tank with 3 heavy damage DPS, and your backline consists of a Jubilee and a White Fox. What do you think is gonna happen? Because this is not a make believe scenario. This has happened to me in my Grandmaster games. It literally happened today as well on stream. I was saying they have heavy poke damage. We had not enough sustain because we needed burst heals. We needed heals to be able to negate. Because again, when you're looking at DPS, because DPS usually, like, you know, is the quote unquote the carry of the games. They're trying to do, you know, everything. They're trying to get finals. So their whole shtick is damage, right? Damage, off angling and whatnot, and dragging attention where they can. On strategist, if you're running a Mantis, again, Mantis right now is really good. I love her. She is really good right now. If you have a Mantis without a Star-Lord, right? Because with the Star-Lord you can run her in 2-2-2. If you have a Mantis and an Invis, right? And they have heavy poke, you can keep it. You can keep that backline. Why? Why? Specifically because Invis does enough burst heals that Mantis doesn't need to swap. But if you have two sustained heals coming up, because that's what it is, like sustained heals, they sustain you. You cannot run sustained heals versus heavy burst damage. You got to go burst for burst so you can negate what's going on. As a strategist player, you need to notice these things and you need to figure it out, and you need to decide to counter pick, because you cannot be telling the Spider-Man to swap if you don't swap. As a strategist player, you are also obligated to swap when needed. If I'm running Luna, for instance, right? If I'm running Luna and I'm running Gambit, right? Strong backline. And let me say they have a Hawkeye. They have a Hawkeye, right? You know what one of us needs to do? We need to go to Invisible Woman. Why? Because she has a shield. Not because her shield is an ability that suddenly makes the Hawkeye not one-shot her. No. So it's a barrier that you're using to keep yourself now and your Gambit and your DPS from getting one-shotted, right? It's not a cure-all, but it helps. If they're running freaking Wolverine and Angela, the two notorious kidnappers, and you're on Mantis and you're on Loki, right? One of you, again, needs to swap to Invisible Woman. You cannot be screaming to your DPS, screaming, hey, we need somebody to get Bucky, and then you're running Loki Mantis. Why don't go Invis when Invis is free? She's not banned. Like, supports get away, a lot of support players get away with not playing counters. If they're running Black Panther and you're on Jeff, what are we doing? You're getting eaten for lunch. You're being sushified. You're just returned to sushi. Like, what do we do there? A lot of these things do not get discussed, do not get touched upon enough, right? For a long time, I have known Adam Warlock was a good support. One of the best strategists in the game. But not a lot of people play him because why? He has a really high skill ceiling and a really high skill floor. Jeff sashimi. All you can eat buffet, fish only menu. Getting pieced up. I don't think I've seen a Jeff getting eaten alive and then they said, you know what, screw this, I'm going to go Ultron. Yeah, people are going to be like, oh my God, why are you on Ultron? Ultron is good against Black Panther, Daredevil, because why? They cannot always get to you. Yeah, they can dash to you once. If you're able to survive that, then they can't get to you anymore because you just keep flying high. What are they gonna do? Scratch the air? You just see them swiping at the air. Why nah? Like, you did not swap enough. if you're a support player who thinks like this, who says, okay, I am getting absolutely neutered. I'm getting absolutely nuked back here. I'm getting absolutely smacked around like a ping pong ball. I need to swap off. Then you're on the right path. Then you are awakening as a strategist, because you need to, in my opinion, the support players of Marvel Rivals need to awaken from the healer role into the strategist role, because you guys do not use your kits to the fullest of its abilities. And this is why a lot of you are also stuck in certain ranks, and why a lot of you who happens to have some sort of game sense, or who were lucky got boosted into ranks that are not for you. Like you only heal tanks, or you don't even like heal your other supports, like the cloak and dagger players. The worst thing, you want to know the worst thing ever added for cloak and dagger players? The worst thing that was added to the game for cloak and dagger players happens to be the stupid team up of Luna. This team up has exposed a lot of players. When I was playing with this team up, right, I would do this. I was like, you know what I noticed real quick? I noticed that when I did the icicle bullshit, when I did this icicle and I was in an isolated area, I'm just prolonging my own suffering. Because if I'm stuck with a Spider-Man, or I'm stuck in between two people and I do this, I'm still gonna die. I just prolong my own suffering for by what, 3 seconds. And then I think I saw a clip going around of a cloak and dagger player who was in cloak form, looking at a Magneto about to ult, and there's a poor raccoon player standing behind the cloak thinking they're gonna fade. You know what their cloak and dagger did? Icicle, and the raccoon dies. This thing here. So whenever I see a cloak and dagger on my team and I see they're using the Luna team up, I'm just like, First of all, this team up is way better. Free barrier is way better. It is way better. If you're a cloak and dagger player, you want to use the hood team up more. You want to use the hood team up and not the freaking Luna team up. Anyways, I just had to say that. I just had to say that real quick, because that annoys me. And I am sick and tired of it. I am sick and tired of seeing people play strategists wrong. I'm sick and tired of you guys disrespecting this role, because I'm saying it, to me, it is disrespect. It is disrespect, because what do you mean you're playing strategist, but you're only using like, what, 50%, 60% of the strategist potential? Why not use 80%? Like, have you thought to yourself, Invis players, my Invis players out there, when you're playing Invisible Woman, again, if you're looking to those, the good ones know what I'm talking about. When you're looking at the players, right? You're not looking at the players. As a strategist, you're looking at health bars. At least that's what I do. I am looking at health bars 9 out of 10 times. Why? Because I want to see who's high on life, who's high on health, and who's low on health. Because what does that do for me? If you're on Invis, you're playing Invisible Woman, and you see maybe your tanks are fighting a different tank, and that other tank is low. One ability is enough to confirm that kill. It's enough. This ability, your pull, that ability is enough to confirm kills. You put it, like, people, please, because I don't see this enough when I'm playing tank. This, you pull them out of position. Like, you see a DPS on high ground, right? You're like, oh, it's on high ground. You're like, hey, come here. Yank him off that high ground. Yank her off the high ground. You see your DPS is returning. They're about to die. Quickly, throw a shield behind them, because now you're blocking projectiles, healing them, and you're ensuring that your teammates are staying up staying up to 6. You know, you ensure that teammate did not die. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know. This suck does damage. I have seen Invisible Women in my lobby never use their suck. Not once. They don't even know that button exists. They do not know the suck exists. This is good against flyers, right? Yeah, it doesn't ground anymore. Okay, fine. But there's a time where you use it to ground Angela. Fine, doesn't ground anymore. You can decide to say it is like a stupid flyer somewhere, or trying to like hold a weird ass off angle behind the corner. You could just be like, okay, maybe there's an Iron Man over there, and he's always peeking. You can try and do that to prevent him from peeking. That is, if you prevent him from peeking, He's not in the fight. If he's not in the fight, he's not doing damage. If he's not doing damage, there's less for you to worry about. There's less for you to heal. There's more for you there's more things you can do with your time. Do you understand? You should make your life easier. You should try your best to make your games easy, to make it fun for yourself. Okay? Your goal as strategist is to make the enemy be like, damn, how do I get rid of that support in that backline? Why are they so difficult to kill? Why are they always yanking me when I'm trying to live? Why is that invis always pulling me back when I'm in the middle of my swing as a venom? Why is that invis always throwing a suck in the middle of the fight when we're fighting? You want to be noticed. Yes, it's gonna put a target in your back, but a target is already on your back. Why? Because you are a strategist player. Do we understand? Anyways, I don't know how long this video is going to be because Jesus Christ, I feel like I've yapped a lot, but this is me just saying what needs to be said. I need my support mains, I need all of you to lock in. Okay? If you're in bronze, silver, gold, if you're in Grandmaster, Celestial, I need you to lock in. I am tired of this role being disrespected. I am tired of the disrespect of people saying that support players are boosted. Yes, I also say support players are boosted. I need you guys to now prove me wrong. Okay? Because I hated that you guys just think the amount of heals means something. It doesn't. I have lost games where I had 80k heals. It doesn't matter. Your heals don't matter. What matters is the value you create. Value is you when you prevent an ult from killing your team, when you yank somebody out of position, when you're able to help your team confirm a kill, when you're able to help your DPS help your DPS turn a 1v2 into a 1v1 into a 1v2 to help that DPS get that final. When you see your teammates are diving, if you have a dive DPS, if you're on Luna, give him a flake. I keep my flake for myself, but I also give them flake. I give you a flake and I say, you know what? I send you off. I want to see you try. I want to make sure that you live. Because why? Why do you do this? It's my job as a strategist to make sure, okay, I do my best. This is my mentality. It is my job as a strategist player in a game to make sure I can have a bit of impact that ensures that the enemy strategists have a rough time playing the game. If I can send my DPS to go bug them, if I can send my Venom to go bug them, you sure as hell know, you can sure as hell bet your finest china, your finest jewelry, your finest whatever, that I am going to do it. I'm going to ensure that my DPS has what he needs so he can get a kill, or he can get attention somewhere, or he can help my tank create space so that my other tanks can either hold it or fight aggro for a space. That is what you do as strategist. Use your brain. Y'all be playing like your brain was turned off. Listen, I know some of us love low cortisol gameplay. I am guilty of that. I love low cortisol, but when I say low cortisol, I mean I'm relaxed, playing. You know, I'm chilling. You should ensure and I say low cortisol, not because I'm not thinking with my brain or I'm playing on autopilot. No, I've gotten so comfortable in the role that it's become second nature to me. Okay, I'm alt tracking. I'm thinking in my head. If I'm using comms and I see the team that listens, I'm telling them what's coming. I'm letting them know. If I see that they're diving, I'm looking around, listening to ensure that I am not caught off guard. I am very difficult to kill, and that is the thing you need to aim for. As a strategist, you want to aim for having the least deaths as possible, because the longer you live, the longer you can keep up your team. The longer your teammates leave, the longer that they have the chance to create value. Like, do you understand that if you are able to live a dive and that dive is dead, now your teammates are up 1. If you're able to ensure that the support on the enemy team is dead, again, now there's a lot of pressure on them. Why? Because now they only have maybe 1 support, and who's probably also half HP, trying to heal herself while she's being poked at maybe by your Venom and your Daredevil. And another thing that's also very important is your positioning. I've seen a lot of support players have atrocious, horrendous, when I see how you're positioned, my heart stops beating. It's like it stops. I'm terrified. I had a cloak and dagger. I'm on again. I know it's a cloak and dagger. It's always a cloak and dagger. I had a cloak and dagger on my team. I'm on tank. It was on the new map. I'm playing. I'm playing tank. And I looked at my cloak and dagger, and she's on cloak, and she's just sucking, sucking, sucking. I'm pinging for heals, sucking. She's frontlining. I'm pinging for heals, sucking. I die, sucking, and she dies. It was like a whole, a whole 30 seconds. My cloak and dagger was in cloak form. I was just, I got triggered, but I didn't say a word to them. I was triggered because I was like, you know what? I had another game. Again, this was on stream. I don't know if you guys were here. I told my cloak and dagger, hey, I'm cloak and dagger. It's not cloak and dagger, Jesus Christ. This is not a share that cloak and dagger players, okay? It's just usually cloak and dagger players are like the main culprit. I tell this cloak and dagger, I'm like, hey, cloak and dagger, I'm going to use my Luna ult here. We're on the Herbie map. I'm going to use my Luna ult. This shit stuck with me, okay? Because I was on stream. I told her, cloak and dagger, I'm going to use Luna ult to stall here. When I'm done, because a portal is coming, I need you to use your ultimate because I stalled so we could get a portal, right? Portal comes through. The portal is coming through. Cloak and dagger ult. Cloak and dagger, please ult. Cloak and dagger, press your ult. Doesn't ult, and then I die. After I die, I think we lose another person, and then I hear co-op time. We're down 2. And then I was like, cloak and dagger, why didn't you ult? Do you know what she told me? Grandmaster player, you know what she told me? Can you stop using comms? You're stressing me out. And brother in Christ, if I tell you the rage I felt in my soul in that moment, the absolute hatred I had in my heart in that moment, it was unbelievable. I was so angry. What do you mean I'm stressing you out? It's too scary to play support. What? Like, I was so angry. Like I don't even remember what I said. I called her out for it. It was on stream. It's probably one of my old streams if you check any of the VODs. I was just like, Like, how the hell did you get here? What do you mean? What do you mean I'm stressing you out? Because I'm talking and giving you comms. But yeah. Anyway, this video has gotten way longer than I intended it to do. But this needed to be said. And I hope somebody out there, again, this is not a hate to support players, okay? I need this role to stop being disrespected because it's one of the most, if not the most important roles in the game. It is a very strong role. There's so much more to your kit than you utilize and you realize. There's so much more you can do. And I'm using this to challenge all you cloak and dagger players. Please, I need this stereotype to die. I need you all to come forward because I know there are good cloak and dagger players, okay? I've seen some of y'all. Y'all are good, okay? I'm a cloak and dagger player. I like cloak and dagger. The character is fun, okay? Okay? So please, again, just a quick summary. Remember, you're a strategist. You are not a victim. It's not just about healing, okay? It's about ensuring you enable your team so they're able to create value. Okay, remember, you need to talk to your second strategist so you ensure that the both of you live. When it comes to healing importance, you have to heal your second strategist first, then your tank, then your DPS. That doesn't mean you ignore your DPS. Another thing, you need to ensure that you're giving your DPS enough support. You're giving them enough help. You're enabling them so that they can create value. You need to make sure that when you're positioned, you're not getting spotted. You're not in the front line. You're not too far back from your team. You're not isolated when you're getting dove. You need to be vocal. If you do not want to use comms, use the chat. Use your instant messages that you can use so that you can talk. Like, be more proactive. Stop being reactive. Y'all are just too passive, and now you have so much more you can do. Okay? I hope this video was helpful to somebody out there. If I only help one person, I've done what I set out to do. So yeah, this is the content for today. If you guys enjoyed this video, tune in for another one. I'm probably going to be talking about tank players next. So, that's about that. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.